Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to A Hoops Journey, episode 121. If you're still rolling with us, we appreciate you. We see you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, download every episode, and do what you can to spread the word. I'm looking forward to here this evening, chopping it up with my guy. We're here on pre-Halloween night. So we know that our kids were wired as we put them to bed. And so it's nice to just have the opportunity to chop it up and reconnect. A dude that I've known for probably longer than I want to admit, because it means we're really old. Played against this guy, played with this guy, and we've stayed good friends since our playing days ended. We have none other than the dunk king, Mr. Half Court Shot, Harlem Crown, Mr. Josh Masters. How are you, my brother?
I'm good, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You know, life is, like we were talking about, busy, but feels like summer holidays just finished, but I think it's good. You know, I was racing out, picked up, full day of work, picked up came home, snack, straight to RBL B-ball. Shout out Blake and the crew. Brought him home. Blake. Yeah, tuck him into bed and then get to chop it up with you, but I wouldn't have it any other way, man. How are you? The listeners might not know, you're over on Vancouver Island now in Victoria, a couple kids and doing your thing. So how's life for you and the family?
Man, I couldn't be more happy, to tell you the truth. Me growing up, doing all what I've done, as you know, and now finally raising little kids. I might start a little late, but
hey,
way better. We both started late, never mind.
Yeah, but you still got a hairline. Like, dude, sometimes I've been at the playground and it'll be summer holidays and someone will pull up on me and they'll be like with their grandkid and they'll look at me and say, "Oh, isn't being a grandparent just so good?" I'm like, I wouldn't know. My son's only 6. He doesn't have a kid yet. They just stare back because you get to the age, once you hit 40 something, it's you don't really care what your response is, right? I'm not gonna mask this, so I just make them feel uncomfortable, and it's awesome, but it's so funny.
Exactly.
Man.
It's how am I going to turn this around?
Yeah. But as you know, man,
I get it.
Timing is everything, and I think, as we'll probably get into, this episode is everything happens for a reason. There's things that happen along the way, and I think, for both of us, and and it's your episode, so for you, being a father at 30, 32, that wasn't your thing. You weren't ready yet, and so timing is everything. And now you're in a good place where you can be a full dad and you can give them everything back, which I think is how it's supposed to roll out. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. If I would have had one when I was a young kid or young adult, no. I always thought that was a dream because I watch all the, NBA players get it. Oh, they had kids at 19, 21. Oh, if I do that, I'll make the NBA. No. No. No, I'm so blessed to have these kids at the time I did, because now, obviously, it taught me how to be a dad, grew me up a little more, even though I'm grown up, but I was still a kid. You know what I mean? And
100%.
Now, after my first little girl, oh my God, everything changed. And then now I got the second little boy, and oh wow, it's a lot. but it's worth it.
Good, man. Yeah, you can't, no more, man. You can't get outnumbered. You can't be 3 versus 2 in the house.
No.
At least it's 2v2 sometimes, so.
Yeah. And they're already battling, and it's just oh God.
Yeah.
3 years apart. But I love every minute of it, as you know.
That's awesome. It's good, man. I do know. Let's get into it, dude. Let's go back in time.
Yes,
young Joshy. Just talk about your life growing up, sort of where you grew up. You have a complex story, which I think, you're a very social guy. A lot of people know you and like you. You have a good charm about you. You smile lots. You're fun to be around. But I think the powerful part of this podcast is people get to share their story. And I think whatever people want to share, but maybe we get to learn things that we didn't know about other individuals, right? And I think you have a unique path to where you've gotten to. So let's go back in time and just talk a little bit about that. And then why did basketball become the sport that you chose?
Man. Well, yeah, growing up, where do I begin? Well, growing up, obviously, well, not obviously, because a lot of people don't know, my dad, he's from Texas. He wasn't really around ever in my life. So, I mean, I had my mom, I had two brothers. One brother stayed with me 90% of the time, and it was back and forth, moving around a lot. My mom was, doing her thing, working, trying to do everything to keep me, out of trouble. Well, all of us, me and the brothers. And then my dad, I always wanted to see him. She said, okay, let's go meet him. And I was in eighth grade or something. I've been down there before when I was a baby, but so I was always like, okay, basketball. I'd never liked basketball because I think it was most likely because of him. He was never around. So I just kind of was like, And then,
Now, are you
Jake,
guys
my
in
brother,
Vancouver? Are you guys in Vancouver at this time?
we're still in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Oh, Richmond. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was still in Texas. I think I met him when I was 2, 3. He was but he played basketball and traveled. So it was kind of, mom wanted to bring me back to Canada and keep me over on this side, which thank God. And so I always kind of, thought about what he was doing and this and that. And then basically grew up playing hockey. And my mom, she was married to another gentleman. And I gave him a lot of love too. He had passed away actually like 5 years ago, but he got me into hockey. I loved it. I was 4 years old, 5 years old. And they used to call me the Chocolate Rocket. And because I could skate. I don't think you've ever heard that one, Mitch.
No, man, I'm dying.
There'll be a lot of guys I know that I stay in touch with that listen to these episodes. They'll
2023, we might be getting canceled for that, but we can laugh
right?
at that. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So that's what the coach used to call me because my stepdad, he had me in the rink at 5 a.m. and I'd be in there by myself or two other of my friends, and we'd skate till about 7, and then he'd take me back, go to school. School started back then at 9. So I'd basically go home, eat some porridge, go to school. And he had me doing that for like 4 or 5 years. And I loved it. Hockey almost today. I mean, basketball, obviously, but hockey was definitely my first love. And I just loved going to the rink. The Zamboni, you get off the ice and we jump on there and it was just that sound and it was still fog on the ice. And I became really good. And then, 4 or 5 years later, I think I was into my 10, 11 years old, around that way. And then my mom and him ended up splitting up. And obviously hockey is not cheap and single mom. So it was like, and then I started growing because my brother played basketball and he was always tall and I was short. And I just loved hockey. But my mom was like, look, we can't keep doing this. Sticks are breaking. That's $40. And $40 back then was a lot. And then it was the skates, and then my feet were growing.
Pads,
and then,
my God,
it was insane. And so I mean, I was mad at my mom for a while. She was like, "We can't do this." She's like, "Why don't you do what your dad did?" And me being stubborn, I was kind of like, "Well." And then my brother Jake said, "No."
Are you stubborn?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't hold grudges. Thanks, Randy. But yeah, no. And then that's all I wanted to do was play hockey. And then when I couldn't, I was like, okay, basketball came over. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Basketball was cheap, one pair of shoes. And thank God to my mom, it was always a pair of Jordans. And she said, you wear those outside and you wreck them. That's all you get. You're going to be barefoot if you don't. So I kind of went through that way. And then, let's see, what was it? Grade 9, I went to J.N. Burnett.
Yeah, you did.
And I met probably the greatest person in my life, Paul Eberhardt. And he kind of took me under his wing. I don't know why. Disbro didn't want to. I don't blame him, though, at the time. But it was a right fit for me. Like, Eberhardt came in and met me in grade 9 and brought me on to his junior team there. And then I played with him, grade 9, 10. I think I scored 4 points in those 2 years. But he always made sure I got in the game because I think my mom kind of made him. They had a special relationship. She was always at the games and driving some of the kids, even though I wasn't playing. But I mean, that's really how I kind of got into it. And and then that basically since grade 9, I didn't really like it because I wasn't doing anything. But then after grade 9, grade 10 came around, met a lot of the Richmond legends, the Mavises, Novell Thomases, and that kind of really opened my eyes to basketball, really, then.
What do you think it was like early on about Ebe? You mentioned obviously there was, as coaches, sometimes we can be like selfish in terms of wanting the best talent, but you're self-admitted saying like, I wasn't even that good back then. But what was it about Ebe that, what do you think he saw in you just saw an opportunity to mentor you a little bit and realize that you needed some support, or like, what was it? Do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, I still don't know. Like, for that guy to do what he did for me is amazing. I mean, a lot of people that listen to your podcast obviously know. And
Mhm.
he just, something to do. I was always athletic and energy. And I guess I was a good kid and nice. Like you said, I'm always smiling and stuff. But
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
no, he really took a big chance on me. And just somehow he just jumped in my life. And it was weird because he was I think he was around 28 years old at that time. And
Mhm,
I was
mhm,
14 or 13. And it was like, but he seemed like he was this older man or whatnot. But he'd come pick me up from my house, take me to practice, and make sure I was kind of doing this. And then school wasn't my greatest thing. And
mhm,
he always made sure he'd be on me. And then slowly, as we got older, well, you don't go to class, you don't do this, you're not playing. And that really hit. It was like, well, all my friends are playing. I could sit on the bench in these red warm ups with the tearaway pants.
mhm,
And then some of the friends would be in the game and I'd be just sitting there watching and just cheering on. But I guess I did a good job of cheering because he kept me
mhm.
around. And no, he was always, obviously, as you know, um, he was always the biggest guy in my life in that way. Like my mom was, she did what she could do, but I needed that father figure. And he was definitely the guy that kind of took me under his wing, and he basically molded me into the guy I am today, and definitely the way I played basketball.
Yeah, I think, the best coaches, regardless of wins and losses, are able to see things inside of people that maybe we don't even see inside ourselves, and being a raw sort of, young guy, you always played with a bit of a snarl when you were hooping, right? You took it pretty
Right.
serious, and not having that father figure, he probably saw some things in you that you weren't even seeing yet, knowing that you're going through growth spurts and that your brother had already hooped, and that, it was okay, there's something here. And so let's see what we can make of it. Um, and yeah, and I agree, like you talked about it already, like, I don't think Richmond High was the place for you. I think
No,
as we
not
get
at all.
as we get more into your journey here, I think you ended up exactly where you're supposed to. Um, and it's funny. And yeah, dude, just talk a little bit more about those Richmond, just the days
Oh
of
man.
Richmond and the players that you were around. And do you remember your first sort of exposure to the Dolphin Park Classic?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and like you said, to jump back a bit, that you said
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason. That was one of my mom's biggest things. She's always used to tell me, everything happens for a reason. I thought I'd be a baseball player,
Mm-hmm.
hockey, whatnot. And she just said, just let whatever comes kind of thing. And she always said everything happens for a reason. I say that to kids nowadays, and just in life, people, my partner, everything. I'm like, everything happens for a reason. We go up and downs and whatnot. But I mean, there's some goal for everybody, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, like it, oh, I love that quote that you said that. Reminds me
Mm-hmm.
of my mom's. But yeah, okay, yeah, well, growing up, damn, Richmond. And that's when, I thought I was good. Grade, I think it was about grade 8. And I remember playing outside one time. I think it was I can't remember the school. It was outside. It was me, Novell Thomas, um, who else was on there? Mike McDonald, all these Richmond legends. And I was a young kid. I thought I was Michael Jordan. I had the armband. I would just jump and just throw the ball around crazy. And I'll never forget, Novell Thomas looked at me like, yo, just slow down. Like, play it this way. And I'll be like, I might have been a little cocky back then. And but literally, he helped me out a lot too. And then just growing up, watching all those guys play. And I was just like, wow, like going to Richmond High games when I was in the ninth grade, he would take me and take a couple of the other players, Andy Duns and Chris Lakes and guys like that. Really the first time I was really like, I want to play basketball was Andrew Mavis,
Mm.
watching him play and like the Bobby Singh. Like Mavis was, I was always looked at that guy. Like now I look at him like the Dirk Nowitzki. Like I was like, he's going to make the NBA. First guy I ever seen dunk besides Ramler, but he was 7 feet.
Yeah.
But watching Maeve and then play, like we play like at some of the high schools outside when we were in the ninth grade and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, these guys are good. And then I was like, okay. And then Ede kind of took me under his wing, and I was still kind of developing, like you said, growth spurts. And I had no idea what was going on with my body. And then I'd be like, oh, school. Then it was just like, okay, hit a couple shots. I'm going to make the NBA one day. Not a chance. But the guys had to humble me real quick. Be like,
Yeah.
you're athletic and you got talent, but you need a lot to work on. And so, I mean, growing up in Richmond really helped. We had a lot of good players out there. And then, and one thing for Disbro too, big up to him. He used to open that gym up all the time too, and have Nash come in and White Chocolate and all the guys. That whole gym be packed all summer. Lee Craven, Mark Craven. I'm pretty sure you came out to a couple of those runs, and Randy Norris, and and it was just like, whoa. I'm like, this is basketball. We're the same age. And I actually, I think I was almost a year older later on. And I'm like, these guys are busting my butt. I can almost touch the rim.
It's true, man. Disbro was one of those ones. And I think we've lost that a little bit being a high school coach myself. Because now everybody's so protective. And it's like the minute you allow, well, I mean, first of all, you need like 48 pages of paperwork liability to bring a kid over, right? But
not just the janitor opening it up anymore.
Yeah, just like the purity and like throw on some beats, someone gets on the aux and we go from there, It's like I think we've lost that a little bit. And those runs when you think of the names, Jordy would come down, Roy Kruzwick, like I think Heinrichsen came out to a few. I mean,
right.
Yeah, right. Like we're talking like legends. So
like national team players, like guys who basically made the league.
Yeah, man.
And it was like, I mean, Eve did it too, and certain other guys, Stevenson High. But everybody went to Richmond. It was that small gym. Disbro had the pole back then. He was number one. Mm-hmm. So we would all go there and get invited. I remember, what's his name from Utah, the coach. He came
Majerus.
Yeah, and he came out, and I had kind of the flu one day, and he was like, "No, this is your chance. You're in grade 11. Everybody's going to be in this gym." Nash was there, and there was guys and went in there and played and didn't do that great, but did well. And they were just like, look, and then everybody started being like, and then Diz was like, I'm not going to recruit you. And I used to hang around with Andy Dunn, Chris Lake. Those were my partners back then. And he would take them up. And I'm like, where am I going? I'm not going to okay. And so I kind of was, a little hurt. And then he swooped in and said, no, look, I got you. And like you said, it was the best fit for me. Definitely. If I went to Richmond High, I would definitely probably not have done what I've done till today, really. And have a guy like Ebe take me under his wing as a father figure, not just you're a player. And he's really, I call him Pops. So he's definitely been my father figure for the last 30-something years.
Yeah, man. And I think too, like, I don't know if you've had the chance to listen to Joe Razzo's episode where he talks about like, there's something to be said for being the man on your team, right? Whereas like if you go to Richmond, that's a team that's ranked 1 through 5 for the 2-3 years you're there, right? And like not saying that you wouldn't get into that role, but it's the likelihood, you're playing behind Maeve, all these guys, right? And then you get to go to McNair, and then you got these gritty dudes, around you, and you guys create your own little identity out at McNair, which is cool, right? And have an opportunity to battle with Richmond, which, Stevenson's kind of, they're okay at this time, but they're not as strong as they were before we were in high school. So it's kind of fun what you guys ended up doing. And talk about those years, man, like grade 11, 12, playing provincial team, senior year, you guys make it all the way to the Final Four, like just so many great memories. And, us coming out your way, and like we get to play provincial team together, like lots of good times, man.
I thought you meant when I first got the treat of you coming into McNair and beating us by 40 something, I think it was. And I was like, oh, this is this Aaron Mitchell guy. And I don't know if Vic Gregor, he was not with you yet. Was he that year?
Yeah, he's a year older.
Yeah, so, right. Okay.
So 94. You guys
came in and smacked us.
Listen, that's what listen, Ebe, that's what happens when you try to put Harv Pooney on me, dog.
Right.
Shout out Hollywood Harv. That's for you, Harv. You better still be listening, man. I don't want that fake download, and we need to download and listen. Yeah, we'll find out though, Josh. He'll message us.
The button and then not listen.
But for real, let's get into those years, man. Yeah, I mean, like U16 days, U17, like provincial teams, all the guys, McCrory, Wilmot, Ole Schmidt, Tutu, like just Bristow, like so much fun. And then being on really competitive teams in the Richmond area, which, hadn't happened for a while. Steveson made the provincials, I think, when we were grade 11. I think so.
Oh, and
but
Dobell, Mike McDonald, and Sedtrack, and a bunch of those old guys. He was having cigarettes at halftime. It was quite the squad. but they were good.
They were, yeah. So talk about those times, and then as you're going through your high school years, at what point did you talked about kind of school not being your thing. At what point did you find the confidence to think like, I know I can hoop at the next level, but I think I can survive academically too, and talk about that process too a little bit?
Yeah, like academics was obviously that was the main thing that held me back with everything. And I kind of got pushed through up until when it really mattered, grade 10, 11. But it was like, he never let me just kind of get by. He'd be like, oh, you missed class? He'd come to my classroom. And I guess I have to give a shout out to Ukes too, because he was my baby manager. I lived across the street from the school. And if I was late, he'd be at my window. And that was his job, to come and get me out of my house and get to school. Mom was sleeping. She worked 2 jobs. Jake was already going to school or working at the time. So it was like, he'd come over and get me up and go to class. And then he would just be like, well, let's see if you go to all your classes today. If not, you're not starting. And I might not let you practice. You can sit there and watch. And then basically, he taught me how I'm letting the guys down. Because, whatever, I was one of the best players on our team, and actually coming into my own to be actually one of the better players in BC. And I just thought it came too easy, and I was taking it for granted. And he put a shutdown to that real quick. And he kind of, I don't know how many times we had talks. And that's why with him, I'm still surprised that he stuck it out and, had put everything into me. Like, I was basically his own kid, and he saw something in me, like we were talking about earlier. And I started to realize it after probably about 16, 17, like, this guy really, loves me and cares for me and wants me to do well. And I wasn't going down the best path, and friends I had in school and out of school and stuff like that. He saw all that. He was just like, look, and he kind of sat me down and said, this is the last chance. I get you to go somewhere. He always wanted me to get on the national team. He always thought I could do it and whatnot. And then obviously, as you know, he got me to graduate through high school and got me over to play university. And but growing up in Richmond really it helped so much. Like the Mavises, Bobby Singh, Tyler, Wade Tamoli. And one thing before I forget, rest in peace to Tyler Tamoli.
Say less.
A great Richmond man, great Richmond guy, great guy all around. And I played with his brother Wade, and he played at Richmond. I think he won a championship, pretty sure.
No, we took it, but still.
Oh, that was you? Oh, never mind. Hey.
It happens.
Yeah, no. So he just had passed away.
Just recently, yes.
So I just wanted. I was going to do that at the beginning of the show, but I wanted to let it go through. But I knew this topic would come up through high school. So, yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out to him and Wade and the whole Tamoli family. They're definitely a Richmond. They're both of them grew up Richmond and were 2 beasts of guys.
Yeah, man. Big dudes.
Big Samoan dudes. But
fun dudes too, man. Super fun.
Oh, man. Yeah. And then, like, overall, like, back to Gordon and Richmond, like, I had the Nobel Thomas. He was kind of a mentor to me. Well, he really was a mentor to me. And me and him were so different. And the way we grew up and everything else. And Chris Lake was his whole family. And
that's right.
I looked up to Chris Lake because he was a bit older than me. And it was just like, I wanted to play at Richmond. They played there. Then I couldn't wait to play them when I got to McNair. But like just growing up with those guys, playing at Dolphin every day since we were like 13, 14, and then really like growing into players from Dolphin. And I'm sure we'll get into Dolphin a little bit. But just Richmond, there were so many good hoopers, and a lot of them was, I don't know, I don't want to say different than me, but I grew up definitely a different path than most of the guys that all those guys were. But we all still got along. They all kind of embraced me as, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to be cool. You don't need to, do all that stuff. let's hoop. You can hoop. Come and hang with us. So that's how I started going to Richmond High runs, and he would make sure he'd pick me up from my house. Like, I don't care what time it is. Let's go. I'm gonna drop you off there. I'll pick you up whenever it's over. Mm-hmm. And all those days in those gyms. And then, I mean, Eve started doing that with his brother, and they'd come down, a bunch of UBC vets, and come and play open gyms after their Nike camps and stuff like that. We'd all run, and it was just like, and then slowly guys like that would be like, yo, you can play. Like Joey DeWitt's, guys like that would be like, you know, if you focus, you could actually do this basketball thing. You just gotta, you know, stop the ego, and you ain't Mike. Stop all this stuff. And even though I'll say he used to call all the moves they do CNS. I don't even remember that from the national or from the under 17s.
Yeah,
we can't say that on this, but CNS meant stop doing all that craziness.
Oh man, those U17 practices.
Whew.
Remember when Mahar ran through in his underwear?
Yes. See, and there's so many things that ever since me and you talked, we're going to do that. Well, we've been talking forever. We're going to get on this pod together, but so many of those stories I keep thinking of. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many, especially just between me and you and the under 17s, and just going through everything. Like when you came and lit us up at McNair, I'll still never forget that. And home crowd, I think it was the first time our gym ever got sold out. I think it was 1,600 people. And we got worked.
But that's part of it. I mean, like Ebe's up and coming. He's got a young program. He's working hard, right? And you know, he's getting to the point where he's bringing in all the top teams in the province, or at least you're going to their schools, vice versa, whatever. You're getting invited to the better tournaments. You know, it's a good feeling, and you're starting to at least have more measuring sticks for yourself, right? You're like, well, I can hang with these dudes, right? And then, you know, some success in the U17 summer, playing with all those guys, looking around, going, I can play with you, you know, and then having an awesome grade 12 year. I mean, what a wild year in 95. Like we get upset, Richmond gets upset, McCrory goes nuts.
It opened the door for us, you guys did.
I know, right? Yeah.
Tony took it to another level.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then at what point did you and Eve sit down and think like, okay, when or where do I want to go? Or when was that conversation happening? Was it like, I know everybody approaches it differently. Some are like, I want to finish out my year and sort of think about where I want to go. Or you kind of like, I'll do whatever, you know, like talk about some of those things. And
pretty much, I never thought that university, anything like this, but Eve used to always put it in my head, and I used to just kind of shake it off. Like,
why?
Never really thought of it. I never, like, I was cocky, as you know.
Yeah.
But I never thought I was that guy, like I could go do this and like see like the Nashes and, you know, the Novels, the Randys, and like even guys like yourself, like you guys were always solid players, like everything. And it was like, oh, I was just a dunk guy. And then it was like, okay, you do highlights, you're a highlight reel player. And I was like, cool. And I love that because I was a showman. And we'll talk about how that led later. But I just love the crowd. I love making people laugh or smile. Even when I was being cocky, it was more of a
this guy, like every gym we would go to, okay, ladies, like this guy would throw it off the wall in warm up. I'm like, yo, man, Joshy. It didn't matter where we were. It didn't matter if that wall was like 30 feet back or like right behind the backboard. He's like eyeballing it when he probably should be like working on his left hand or shooting jumpers in warm up. He's like looking at the wall. What's it made of? Brick? Oh, glass. Like when we played at SFU, I thought, remember that the old gym, they had kind of that fiberglass. I was like, he's gonna break a window, man. Just
there's a few screws.
Launches it like 60 feet in the air, one bounce, like 2 foot or 1 foot reverse. I'm like, this guy's crazy, man. He's crazy.
And so, you know, that's funny. Where I got that dunk from was Eve. Remember at under 17s when we were in Vegas, and we had Pasha and Kyle guys under us, and we were in the dunk competition. He was like, going to dunk competition. I was like, what? Like, nah. And then all of a sudden, I was like, yeah, why not? And everybody, I remember Posh, you, Ben Simmons,
yeah,
all the other guys, right? And they were like, dude, go in it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, look at these guys.
Yeah. Like, wasn't Felipe Lopez there?
Felipe Lopez, Kevin Garnett.
Marbury, like, dude.
Yeah. And I remember Garnett walked in the gym when we were warming up, and I was like, oh, who is this guy? He just came walking in with a towel on his head and like 8 dudes beside him that were all like 5'4". And everybody's like that. And I remember Pasha came up to me and was like, "Oh man, you got this. Do the wall dunk." And then Eve's like, "Okay, I saw this dunk a few years ago. Throw it off the wall." I'm like, "What?" And I did that, got it. And I think Cotton Fitzsimmons and Jimmy Jackson were judging.
Oh, that's right.
Right. And then I got the wall dunk, and I remember Kevin Garnett walked up to me, and we had the British Columbia jerseys on. And he said, I can't remember what he said, but he said, "Where the is British Columbia?" And it was like Canada. And then after that, I mean, I finished second. I beat Garnett, just to throw that out there for you young guys. But
sheesh.
And then when was it? Ronnie Field won it that year.
Oh,
Remember Ronnie
Fields,
Field? He jumped the 3-ball rack, all loaded, and windmilled it.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I was, whew. But I mean, that tournament with us, like that showed me, you, Bristow. Who else? We have McCory, we have Jesse. Like, we had a pretty darn good team, and we did pretty well considering who we're playing against. And that's when I kind of came back, and it was like, oh, I mean, I could play with these guys, but I see you, you know, like all my kind of peers that actually play basketball and weren't like, I was always, everybody said, "Oh, you're naturally gifted. You had hops, you had this." And I was like, yeah, I never worked on my game. But then seeing you guys actually had the fundamentals of the game and studied the game in a sense at that age, it was like, okay, I want to be on these guys' level. Like honestly, with you, it was Maeve, and I mean, obviously the older guys, Novell and stuff like that. Even Ron Putsy is another big mentor of mine. I watched him since I was in grade 2, and he went to the same school in McKay out in Richmond. That's awesome. It was just like watching these guys play. I was like, holy, I'm like, why can't I do this? And then I started growing. I was like, I was like, oh, these skinny legs can get up there, and I got long arms and big hands. I'm like, this is cool. I like this game.
We've had another very generous sponsor on the podcast. As you know, Carl and myself run this podcast strictly out of our own pockets and try to do our best. And we've had a guy step up, a gentleman by the name of Doug Beers. Doug Beers has a company called Pro Gift Cards. It also funds our other sponsor, PGC Basketball Academy, with some other key corporate donations that Doug gives out. He's a very generous guy. We're very thankful for him. If you need bulk gift cards, and when I say bulk gift cards, I've been to his office, from Tim Hortons to Earl's to Canadian Tire, it's across the board, Walmart, you name it, all right? For your company or any organization, Pro Gift Cards can get them to you at a discount. If you mention a Hoops Journey podcast, you'll get a special discount as well. So whether you're running like a golf tournament or some sort of event, reach out and he'll take care of you. If you Google Pro Gift Cards, they're also found on the Walmart Canada website under gift cards as the exclusive supplier for Walmart Canada gift cards. Support his company. He's a great guy, a big hoop head, and has really looked out for our podcast. Once again, that's Pro Gift Cards. Mention a Hoops Journey, and you can find yourself a little bit of a deal. Thank you to Doug Beers. After seeing all that, man, that was great. The reminisce about Vegas, man. I wish
there's more stories. We'll keep that. Another one.
It's a different podcast, my friend. It's a different podcast.
Nothing bad like that, people. We're just bugging rookies.
Yeah, don't even.
Ben.
This guy, I would dive to see like the rosters of like those guys, because that 95 All-American game is insane. Like, it's loaded, right? So there's probably there's other dudes that were around.
A lot of guys. Kobe was out there that year, because I'm still trying to find the pamphlet. I think it might be at my aunt's, but we had that pamphlet, and I know Kobe he was only 14, but he was playing on his level. And then I remember Sam Oakey was another guy that
we played against them. Yeah,
he ended up playing Utah, I think, or
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, that's right.
Yeah, the other all-white school.
Yeah, right. He was a monster.
Yeah, man. And then Marbury was playing with New York. Yeah, we did too well, man. It was good.
We had a good team.
Yeah, and I think Ebe did a good job of he really let us be free, right? That's what I always appreciate about him as a coach, was there were standards and rules. And I remember I think I was late for the Vans one day, and he lost it on me. And I had Chambers as a coach, right? But I was like, damn, okay, so it's all fun and games after the game's over, but when it's game time, it's business,
Oh,
right? And he was
it
really
was,
good about like finding that balance, knowing that, okay, I know we're in Vegas. We can
yeah.
have fun. I'll do the friggin' wrestling
Yeah,
moves,
I
whatever.
was just going to say he's going to give us some belly flops and
Right.
whatnot. But
But
when it, yeah, like you said, when it came down to time, the
yeah,
bus is leaving and the van's leaving and whatnot, and if you're not shoes tied and ready to go out there, nah,
yeah,
he wasn't
yeah,
having it. And everybody thinks that way about him. Oh, he's just an easygoing guy, big Joe,
yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah. I remember, I think I kind of backtalk him in a timeout one time in Vegas, and he just like, he was, I don't even remember who he's like sub for Mitchell, and then
Glad it was
lost it
you.
on me. Yeah. Thanks, man.
I would have got hit.
Yeah. And then he got in the car after and he like, I knew he set it up so I was in the front seat and he basically was just like, yo, what's the deal? And I was like, I apologize, coach. It'll never happen again. He's like, perfect. And then we just moved
Exactly.
on. Right. But it was like,
Yeah.
he wanted to break it down. And I was like, I knew I was in the wrong. And I was like, okay, deal
And
with
the fact
this.
that he was pretty young for a coach, like,
Yeah, man.
that's like he was a young guy. Like, and it's weird. I always thought he was older, obviously, when we were growing up. But I look back now, I'm like, man, you were a baby, just a kid too, kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
getting your feet in the door
And
and
he's still
coaching.
doing it, man.
Yeah, man, I
I
know.
can guarantee you this, Josh Masters. I will not be doing it.
I hope not.
I will not be doing it for that long. There's no way. This
I
guy is like
Yeah, I always
crazy.
think that. Even people I talk to all the time, it's like, how? And then he was coaching what Lankara, then Palmer, and then driving back and forth, back and
Back
forth.
and
I'm like,
forth, man.
man,
A college team and a high school team.
yeah, that's a lot of work. And then he was still a mentor to a lot of kids that I know, like growing up. And
100%.
he was taking care of them, and then got coaching, practice, this and that. I'm like, that's why I'm glad he got married finally. And like, slow down
I know,
and take
right?
one team,
Yeah.
but he can't stop.
No. Now he's busy doing robotics, which is hilarious. So
Yeah, right,
but he loves it. He loves it.
right.
Yeah. Okay, man. So post-secondary ball, let's talk about that journey. I mean,
Woo.
is kind of up and down, and then you end up in the spot where you're a key player in a role, playing a huge role for championship level teams. But up until that point, talk about the ups and downs and in betweens of figuring all that out. Moving to the post-secondary world where we get a little bit more freedom but that also means more responsibility in terms of getting our marks in and showing up to friggin' practice and whatever else it is, right? So, kind of like, you have Ebe in your corner, but he's still got priorities with his job and his life too. So how did you work through that and figure that all out?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I thought I could go to university. I had Triano kind of recruit me, well, not Hemmings yet, but I mean, the UBC, everybody Hanson, and they were all like, and it was kind of cool to see because it was like, oh, cool. And then I'd see Pasha getting 500 letters from Duke, UNLV, and I'm like, I play with him outside. It's not that much better than me. He's younger, but after that, I once I figured out, he was like, you can go play. He's like, I think you can play on the night. I remember this one video we did the sports page interview in like 95 or something like that. And me and him sat there and he's like, I think you could play on the national team one day. I didn't see that till after the little video thing came out and I was like, whoa, that's nothing I ever thought of. But I was just like, I'm just going to play, maybe go to college, go to UBC or one of the teams. And then I was like, oh, wait, you need grades. So and then he was always on me with that. Even my mom and I mean, I was stubborn and I mean, I tried. I did good enough to get through. And then he came up to me one day and he said, "Pack your bags," kind of thing. I said, "What?" And he was like, "You're going to Brandon." I'm like, "Where's that?" In my head, I thought it was in the States. I'm like, finally, and figure that out. Nope, wasn't the States. I mean, when I got there, when I got there, it was basically the States.
True. Hang on though. Hold up. Did you play Douglas?
Yeah, Douglas was.
We're trying to skip over this.
I kind of skip over that one. No, Douglas was. I mean, that was my first step to Dave Monroe. Shout out to him too. He's a good guy, and we didn't see eye to eye. But we had some of the greatest coaches there. We had Tate.
Damn, Tate was
our
coaching?
team. Yeah, and he was still lighting us up in practice. and they played 3-on-5 and beat us, and we had to run lines. But yeah, Monroe was on. We had Mark Craven, Lee Craven, we had Ukes. God, who else did we have? Frampton. We had actually a really good team, but we did not gel together.
Frampton's in Oak Bay, right?
Yeah. I saw
man.
him when you were up here a couple years ago. Yeah. I got some sandwiches out of the coach's room from him.
Classic Joshy.
Yeah. Me and him talk here and there. And it was funny when I ran into him. Like, oh, he's like, man, and then you were like one of the best dunkers. I'm like, God, I'm like, you're doing well. He's like, come help me coach. I'm like, nope. I'm like, I'm not ready to coach yet. But
man.
It's just it's crazy how small the basketball world is. Like, I had seen him in Douglas was 98. So
yeah,
that's quite a while ago. And I always looked at him because he was a decent player. And
Pitt Meadows, man.
Yeah. And it was just like, it was cool to see all these guys. And like, even now to today, we all still kind of be in touch and run into people, like, especially over here on the island. I never thought I'd run into him again. Like, I saw him for 2 years. And then it was like, probably see him on Facebook somewhere with a post.
Okay, man. So,
but no, Douglas was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to play. I was obviously trying to find myself at that time too. And I was dating a girl, and she's like, no, she got in my head, oh, you're gonna make the NBA, you're gonna do this. And I was like, I'm playing open gyms with the Grizzlies and stuff down at not GM place, at the Richmond Oval and stuff like that, and Anthony. And it was like, but realized real quick that I need to get back focused. And he basically said, look, you're going. If you don't go here, he's like, I'm basically cutting you out in a sense. I know he wouldn't, but I was scared of him. So I said, okay, where? I was like, here's my bag. I got 3 T-shirts and a pair of Jordans. Where we going?
And there's no Google at this time, dog. You just like, man. Okay, so touchdown. And I'm guessing too, Brandon Airport ain't even open. So you land in Winnipeg, and then it's like, what, 2.5 to get to Brandon?
Oh, man. That was a real shocker for me getting up. I had no idea. Like, I knew what Winnipeg was and where it was. But I got there not knowing who's where and what. And I'm by myself. First time I ever left home. Never mind, left my mom. I'm a mama's boy. And I left him like, what? No cell phone. So I'm like, get off the airport, quarter in the thing. Oh, you need more than 1 quarter. So a few quarters, call mom. She said, what? You're not coming home. She's like, basically, doors are locked. She's like, you're there. And then some random guy standing there in the airport said, hey, kind of like that thing you see in the movies, he's on the master's sign. He said, I was like, what? Drove that 2.5 hours, longest drive. And I think it was end of August. I know it was actually September because I almost missed it. Because one of our good friends and our brother, Gil Chung, he's the one that told Mr. Hemmings, you got to get this kid, but you got to get him on here. He won't come on his own. So, he had Eves, my mom, Hemmings, and everybody talking, and my brother. They all helped him. It's like, just go. Once you get him here, he's good. And then, so that whole thing got out there. I remember just driving around the town the next morning, and I was like, what is this?
Were you in Jerry's garage? Were you in Jerry's garage?
I was just coming there, because they were saying, we're not giving you a dorm room. Eve's like, I'll pay your first tuition, and then if you graduate, we get it back. So, all right, if I pass the first 9 credits, I get it back. So it was kind of like Hemmings already had a suite. I'm sure there was another 10 guys before me that lived in there because there was a lot of other stuff in there. And I'm like, oh, it's this jersey. I'm like, oh. And it was like 20 yards away from his house on a flat field, obviously in Manitoba. And I'll never forget that first sleep. And it was like 6 a.m. You'd be up. And I'm like, I got in at midnight. He made me eggs and orange juice. I'll never forget that. And then he's like, hey, walk me out to his little bar. And I'm like, what is this? There's a futon, no TV, and Bobcat pitcher. And I was like, all right. I remember waking up the next morning, 5:40 something, and he got me and was like, let's go.
Didn't he hit you? Did he hit you with the intercom? Josh. You let
He
the
had it right
intercom, he
beside.
could just talk
He
to
had it
you
right
like,
beside my bed, and then Jordan, his son, kept coming over that night, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm still not even sure where I am, and so I'm
yeah,
up, no phone, no nothing, staring at the wall. There's a bunch of pictures, a couple of the Bobcat guys, and I'm like, so are these all the guys that passed away in here, or are they all played here? I was like, this guy's got me in a cave in the backyard. But and then the next couple of days it was -30.
my
No,
God, like mid-October,
man.
bro.
Oh, it's a dry cold, Josh. I remember that's all he told me. It's a dry cold. You live in
Yeah,
DC, it's wet cold. This is different. I'm like, yeah, it definitely is different.
different.
I wasn't
That's what
used to that.
that's what my wife's family tries to tell me too, man. Like they're all from
Right?
Saskatoon.
Out
Like,
in
oh, it's such a
Saskatoon,
wet.
yeah.
I get so cold when I come out to Vancouver. I'm like,
Right?
come on,
It's,
man. Like, don't even compare the two,
I'd rather have my feet wet than I can't blink.
right? Nose hairs all frozen. Like they got to start their car. They got to start their car for 15 minutes before they get into it.
Yeah,
Like,
plugins. I remember seeing it
yeah,
outside the dorms. I'm like, why are there plugs outside on these posts? And it took me a minute. People were like, well, that's where you plug your car. And I'm like, for what? There's no electric cars in 2000 or 1999.
so don't freeze, man. Like what?
Right? That's when I was like, this place is crazy. And then,
Yeah,
but
but
that's
you know
another
what?
place though.
For
Hopefully.
sure. But when you look back on it, like I think for you and where you were at academically, basketball wise, a good program in a small community was probably like the
Oh,
perfect fit for you, Joshy. Like,
oh, million percent.
like, as annoying as maybe coach was with like study hall and stuff, like he was making efforts to keep you eligible. He was
Yeah.
always on your case. You guys had a love hate, and just like, cause you would battle him, but he always was looking out for you. And I think like, I always think of like, all the families that kind of like, who's the old family, the Cran.
Oh, Crans.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like
And
just
they
the
both
nicest.
just passed now.
Yeah. Oh, did
Yeah.
she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like those type of people and like
Crandalls.
the
Crandalls.
Crandalls. Yeah.
Right.
And just that Brandon experience that is hard to put into words. I know people like drive through Brandon and they think, oh, what's this place all about? And what is this? But when you got the experience of being a Bobcat, I think it was like the perfect mix for
Oh,
you, man. No
there
doubt.
couldn't have been anything better than that. And that's kind of how, like, I go back to Eve. Like, how did he know that? Like, he knew I'm not going to UVic, UBC, SFU. Clearly didn't have the grades. They asked, they tried, and they said, we'll give you the opportunity to do your, go tutoring. And I just wasn't ready. And then Brandon was was like a adult high school for me, in a sense, my
Yeah.
first year. And I did a lot better there, too, because it was, like you said, it was smaller.
Oh,
Everybody's
yeah.
on it, and everybody's okay. And then some of the older guys, the Greg Walkers and Ernest Bells and guys like that, were like, "Look, dude, we need you. So if you don't, then we're not hanging out." Kind of thing like that. And I was like, all you gotta do is just show up. Like, you got it. Just go show up.
Yeah.
And I was always like, "Oh, I'm scared of school," but it's like, no, this is different. Like, pick something you like. And then, I mean, Hemmings and a bunch of the guys got me into class. Jacob Hall was another guy, rest in peace, brother.
Yeah.
And he kind of took me under his wing when I first got there, too, because he was just like, dude, he's like, I'm not the greatest student. He's like, all you got to do is take something you kind of like and just go to class and just
Yeah.
listen. They're going to, not per se they're going to pass you, but I mean, literally they will, as long as you go and show that you're learning something. You can't just show up and sit there and put your head down. But yeah, no, definitely. Like, and that was something that Eve saw too. Like, that was the only place that really at that time in my life I could have went and ended up being, kind of successful in a sense, playing hoops.
Kind of successful for sure, man. Talk about those years. I mean, like
Whew.
the teams you played on, the guys you got to play with, like, and I think too is like the thing that blew me away when I was there was like the media showing up to
Right?
practice. Like
It
we're on
was
the
so
local
different.
news, every game's on TV. Like this gym's packed. It's just a different experience,
Yeah.
And you're playing. I mean, we're the top 5 program every year, and it's you're at the mall and people are like stopping you to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Going to
great.
Applebee's and like, oh,
Yeah.
here, I'm going to pull up my credit card I just took out from a guy in the mall. Oh, no, you guys are good. Here, don't worry about it. You and Quasi are good.
Yeah, big quads, baby.
But yeah, like being there was like a little small hoop town, like the Hoosiers kind of atmosphere in that sense, but a lot of more colored folks. You know what I mean? Like I'll never forget the first day I walked in the gym. It was like I walked in, there was about 60 guys in there. I'm like, what? And like I would say 75% were black dudes. Toronto, Joe Asante, Quasi, X, never mind, and all the other old school guys that were still living there after they had done. And then I was just like, whoa, this is not, and all those banners in that gym. I was like, what is going on? And I never followed really university besides, UBC, UVic, SFU. That was it. Besides our colleges, but I never really watched basketball growing up, except for like whatever, NBA stuff. But going in there, I'm like, I'm never going to make this team. Look at all these dudes. And they all look like they could hoop. They all had the shorts and the gear and the earrings. And I was just like, what? And then once I started playing, I was, oh, wait a second. I'm all right.
Yeah.
Like I could do this. And then Hemi, like you said, Hemi's kind of saw something in me as well. Obviously he did too, because him and Ebops, he talked, so he saw something in me. And he basically, I went in there and started all 3 years I played there and did pretty well with the guys we had. And then school wise, it was the best for me because I was actually passing. Like I was going to class, didn't mind it. I missed a lot, but I was still making sure, okay, got to do this. And then guys would get on me, coach would get on me. Like, look, you're not playing tomorrow. You're not practicing. How are you going to come to practice? We're going to make everybody run if you miss another class. And it was kind of, that brought me back to high school at McNair. Because he was like, I don't care how good you are. Like, we need you. But if you're not doing the school thing, we don't need you. And so like it kind of hit me in both places when I got there too. And he was always on me, obviously, when I was there. I talked to him all the time. And then just kind of getting into guys. And then when you came out and Gil was there, Gil was always a kind of a mentor to me too. But I always just looked at him as my little brother. But obviously now he's the head coach there. So he's doing something right. Yeah. But he was always on my butt too, like being like, come on, man. He's like, we need you. Like, and it was kind of cool because growing up with Gil as well. And obviously we were rivals. And then when you got out there, you guys, were all best friends and guys like that. And it was so cool to have guys around me, even though I still messed up a bit. But it was just like to see you guys and then see me if I miss class or do something dumb. I'd see you guys be pissed. So it was kind of like, I can't put these guys down. Like, we got a national team here. Like, we can win this stuff. You know what I mean? So it kind of opened my eyes. And for you too, my brother, like, I love you for everything you've done there. And you always kind of tried to keep me on the right path. I'm hard to deal with, but it worked out in a sense.
100%, man. And I think too, like, Brandon was like, and like I was like you talk about, it was me and Scott and Los and Rainbow. Like, we were the only white dudes, man.
Right.
Like, it was a total, just flipped it upside down, But I had my own path too. Like, I failed out of cap. Like, I didn't know what I want to do in school. Like, after I left Langara, like, I only had a few options. I had X here, Calgary, like, because academically it was so bad, right? And I was like, where am I going to be able to get my degree done the fastest? And Gil was the same. He's like, yo, man, this will be a good spot for you. And I was like, I don't know, man, Brandon, Manitoba. And I think like it's the good and bad of it, and especially for someone like yourself, Joshy, is like how small it was, right? Like, you could be doing your thing.
I would have survived in a big school.
Yeah, man. Like, you could still do your thing, have your fun, be who you are. But it was like, actually, you know what? I have seen Josh in the last day. Like, I know where he's at, so he better get his ass here.
Yeah, and you couldn't hide. It's like, I know he's either over at Heather's or he's over at Texas House. And it was like, you're not hiding anywhere.
Yeah.
And we got practice this time, and you're not playing. That's how I always felt too over there. It was like, I screwed up quite a few times, but it was like, now I know, like, especially with you knowing, and Gil and guys, like, these guys are brothers from, home. And I'm going to let them down. They came out here and sacrificed, and they're going to practice. They're doing school. And then it kind of showed me, like, stop being selfish. Let's do this as a team.
And, okay, how'd you guys do that first year, 90, 98, 99?
Ooh, man, it was, so I think it was, what was it? There was two guys that played on the team that were there after that year, like after their year before that. I think they won national 2 years before I got there, 96, 97, I think.
Okay.
And then we got there was 11 new guys. Ernest Bell and Craig Walker, I think, was the only other returning player that won a national with them. Tex was / coach, player, fighting with everybody kind of thing. But we started off, I think, 4-0. And then we went to lost 6 straight or something like that, if I remember correctly. I think we were like last seed go in. But back then too, it was only Winnipeg, Regina, Brandon, and I think that was really
U of M
before. Oh yeah, and U of M, right? And U of M were dominant. They were the Brandon of that era. They had all the brothers, so we'll say, and then we got there, and then we just gelled like just before like the GPAC it was called, and we just turned it on, and I think we went like 6-0, and then made it through, beat Alberta at home in the GPAC tournament, beat Regina, which was our rival, beat Manitoba, and then went out to Halifax. And I think Alberta was number 1. We beat them by, I think, 19 or something like that. And it was like, whoa, number 8 seed. And that's when we just were like, we play. It's like we got enough different kind of guys that don't know each other. We had and everybody from all over the country, all over Canada. It was like we had the Weaselhead, we had Ernest from Kentucky, we had Jermaine from Jacksonville or Mississippi State, and and then some of the other guys. Tex was Minnesota All-American, guys like that. And I was just like, how? And these guys were like, to me, I thought they were 30, but I guess they were really 27, 28. They were older guys, and I was like, I'm like 22, I think, around there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but we ended up getting along, going up to nationals, and then hit nationals, and it was just like played. Who we ended up playing the first game? Not St. Mary's. Oh, Western.
Okay.
Oh no, Western was the second game. But I can't remember who we played our first game. It wasn't you, Vic. It was somebody that we weren't supposed to beat, and then we beat them. And then, Alberta, was the first game. We knocked them off number 1, and then we played Western, and that's when I hit that kind of cool shot that got us over there. And then good old Randy again. Had to face him, and I just remember I did not want to lose to him again. And I was telling all the coaches, I'm like, this guy can play, and everybody's like, who? Like, nah, this little guy. I'm like, man, trust me. And him, Fred Perry, and that's still probably one of the better games I've ever played in my life that I could, just because playing against Maximu, Randy, I think Jordan was a rookie on that team that year, Coucher. And it was just like, wow. And these guys, like, they were supposed to win, and we had it right down to the end. And then it was, Randy. Shout out, Randy. Love you.
Okay, so I'm looking, it says 1999 was St. Mary's ended up winning it. Do you remember that? Yeah,
no, okay, then so I would have been there 2000, and that's when we played.
99, 2000 is when you hit the half court shot.
Yeah. That was against Western.
St. Mary's beat Alberta in overtime. That would have been Jonas Tasic would have been on that team.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
And then you guys lost by 1 in 2000, and then we lost in overtime in 2001.
And then with you, back to those.
Yeah. And so talk about that. I mean, like, for me, like coming in 2000, 2001, knowing the history and what had happened, and like, I mean, we had a squad, man. I mean, Ebel was an absolute beast, and I was the same. Like, I was like, after my last year at Lang, where I probably shouldn't have gone back, but I just finished, and I was like, am I kind of done with basketball? Do I want to be here? And then, started training a bit, and like Jerry started calling me, and Gil was getting on me, and like was like, come on. And I remember Matt LeChasser. I don't know if you remember that name.
Yes, yes.
He was at Manitoba, and so like he coaches out here now. But he was like texting me, calling me, kind of like on the flip phone, and hey man, you should come to U of M. And I was like, all right, and I got in shape, and then I showed up to Brandon, and like you said, it's like 42 dudes at tryouts. I'm like, yo, is this
Right. That was the thing when I got there too. It was like
CIS? We
all
got
these guys in
tryouts.
there
I'm like, I'm not gonna make this team, man. These guys are all.
in
I'm
that
like,
little gym. So big.
yeah, I'm like last in the fartlek run. I'm like, oh my god, man. Like I'm not ready for this. And then I mean, we just rolled, right? I think we lost like 3 games that year. I think the
Yeah.
entire year, 3 or
Oh man.
4.
We were we were stacked. Like people don't understand it. Like I talk to people here and there, and I'm like, man, the team we had. I'm like, whew,
Yeah, it's
if we
crazy.
would, well, I mean, not that we didn't all, dial into each other, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we'll probably talk a little about that more too. But we
All
had
right,
the
let's
team,
do it. I think we could have, man.
right?
I think it's what separated us. I think we just weren't as connected as Saint FX was. I think we
No,
made it all
not
the
at
way to the
all.
national final just out of talent. And I think
Yeah, 100%.
because we weren't as unified, and maybe there was some trust issues from the locker room and things like that. I just think
Yeah,
it affected us on the court. Um,
100%.
yeah, and I think it's like those Clippers years where it was like Blake Griffin and CP3 and DeAndre, and it's like they just couldn't get it
Yeah,
together, right? And it was like I remember talking with Jerry about that. I was like, we got enough talent to make the national final.
man.
I don't know if we could have enough to win it though, And
But we
it's
get
like,
there.
yeah. And I think
And
like,
then it comes down to, it comes down to us, really. Like, even
yeah.
with Hemmings, like me and you talk obviously a lot. And it
Mm-hmm.
came down to Hemmings. He should just sat back and let us play. That's
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think it that way in a sense. But we had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of coaches that were playing and vice versa. But I mean, if he would let us just sit back and look at the guys we could almost stub ourselves out at that point. Like
Yeah.
and guys like knowing, Randy better than
Yeah.
anybody playing
Yeah.
against, and then Gil. And I mean, Gil was getting minutes, but obviously now the reason he's the coach, head coach,
Yeah.
because he knew the game and he knew guys together. He would sub me in my rookie year when I go, I'll be like, what? Is you ready? I'm like, I would come off all pissed and yelling at Hemmings and whoever else. I wanted the ball in the corner and da da da. And then Gil would come over and sit beside me, and I'm like, what? He knows I'm mad. He wouldn't say nothing. He would just sit beside me and then tap the leg, go. I'm like, go where? They go somewhere. I'm like, what? All right. And then go in and I'd play well because I had that confidence from, a guy I've known pretty much all my basketball career as well.
Yeah.
And for him to be like, yo, go, just relax, get in there. And it was just like, okay. But a lot of our guys, we just couldn't wrap that around. Like you said, with Saint FX, they were a team. We were a team, but we were kind of still floating around with each other, and guys who wouldn't trust each other. It still pisses me off to today.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it's live and learn, right? But I mean, yeah, that's what happened. I mean, you look at like Randy won them the title in 2000, right? He made those tough shots
And
when you guys were up. Yeah. And then and then the next year, like he hit the big shot against McMaster in the semi, but like Croucher hit the tying shot in regulation. And then remember that EL Adams or whatever, he went off in overtime and Denny, Denny missed the free throws, but he bounced back. And so they had, whereas like we kind of just like
we stayed idle.
Yeah, I agree. He was our guy, and it was like, yeah, we did. We stayed idle. It was wild, man.
And he was out of gas. Like, and now that me and you talked whatever 2 days ago, and so I watched the whole game again. He was out of gas.
Like, we rode him, man.
Yeah, and even Weaselhead Chuck he was out too. He
won us the semi, man. Remember, like he fouled out, and then he made that huge play, and like,
and he gave us everything, and you know what I mean. And that's another guy. Like, I mean, all of us, I feel bad for, but like a guy like him, like came out of nowhere, and like his story is probably, like mine is up and down too. But man,
that's my dog, man. That's my dog. That's my roomie,
man. One of a kind.
Yeah, for real, for real. This guy would be out till 2 a.m. and then wake up and win the beep test the next morning and like kick everyone's ass.
At other guys.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, man, this guy's crazy. Yeah.
And then be like, I'm not coming to practice today. I just did this.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Where are you going? He's like, I'll be at OCC.
Yeah. But listen, like when you look back at it and like, we kind of half joke about it or whatever and all that, like, would you have traded it for the world?
Not a chance.
I mean, how many people you talk to that have hooped and are like Dom Zimmerman's one of my better friends. Like, I
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't think they even made the nationals. And
Right.
he's like, you played in the national final in front of like
Yeah.
14,000 people. Like that is,
Yeah.
when I posted the video on Hoops Journey, people were commenting, like Chris McLaughlin, who played at Vic. He's like, wow. He's like, look, he's like, I'd heard the stories about,
And it was packed.
and he's like, but this is wild. Right. And so,
And we were the Cinderella team that, I
yeah,
mean, we had the talent. We had, the high flyers. We always had that stigma, Hemmings and his whole past, and, all the American guys and the high flyers and the whatnots. And, we were never loved.
yeah,
But people wanted to see us play.
yeah,
Like even our years, people wanted to see us play. Like it was a show at halftime or at the beginning of the game. Everybody dunked it. Everybody trying to do one thing or whatever, and we kind of had that swag that was, I mean, we weren't that bad, but I mean, some of us. But
it's true though. You know what? I'm reading the John Thompson book right now. Remember him from Georgetown?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's I'm in the thick of the book right now where he's talking about being now Jerry wasn't a black man, but John being a big, large black man with majority black players on his team. And that instant label that came with that, right? Good, bad, or in between. It was the label that they were given. And they were, they played a fast tempo. They played aggressive defense, very similar, like use their athleticism to wear teams down. And that's such a good way to put it, is like, not everybody loved us, but they always wanted to watch,
That was the thing. They respected us. And they used to love it. I remember going to the gym in Regina a couple of times, and the wall dunk that we were talking about earlier, the coach would be standing there and be like, hey, my mom and dad are here, and can you do that wall dunk in warm up? And I'll be like, what? I'm like, I'm doing it anyways, but here, I'll throw it behind my back and do this one just for your family. And it was kind of cool because they hated us. The Giant Nuts, you remember those?
Of course, yeah.
They didn't like us, but they were always that one thing. They're like, oh man, they come up and hey, can you do that dunk? Even some of the players like, yo, how that? Like, I don't know. Here, watch. And it was kind of like, but it was like you said, it was a love-hate relationship. And the CIS hated us, and they just, I mean, we were good. We were not the typical team. We were all from everywhere and different, personalities. Clearly, like we had guys yelling loud, and E-Bell took him a bit, but when he got mad, it was like, shh, get out of his way. And then me yelling and screaming. But then it was like, okay, get a couple dunks. Then Mitch hit a three. Then it was like Weasel had to drive down the lane, do something crazy. And then it was just like, man, but people like, we got to go watch this game.
Like, for real.
And if we beat them, it's even better, but he's not beating us.
No joke there. Two things I want to talk about before we do some fun questions, man. One, I want to get into Harlem Crowns, and two, I want to talk about just sort of that dunking history, right? So, the Dolphin Park Classic is like, I mean, those are some of my fondest memories outside of playing, high school or post-secondary, like just Dolphin every summer, whether I decided to play or not, just the weekend, seeing the community and everybody out. What are you, like 11? How many times you win the dunk contest?
13, but
13. There you go.
I think it was like 10 straight, and then they started bringing up.
Oh, that's right. There's 10 straight. Right. Yeah. Talk about that. Just the art of being a dunker. You talked about it a little bit that first time in Vegas, and like Eves. I mean, how many people can just be like, "Hey, here's a dunk I think you should do," and then you just pull it off, right? And like, talk about just that art of being a dunker and how much pride you took in it. And knowing that every summer there was an opportunity to defend the title, because it was a big deal. The people haven't seen or know or watched the documentary about Dolphin. Like, we're talking 9-10 rows deep of people on Sunday at 4:00. Beer gardens packed. There's thousands of people there. It was a major event in the Lower Mainland. Talk about that. Just being a creative dunker.
Yeah, I have no idea where it came from, but I just, like, since I was young, it was Michael Jordan. All his tapes, all those VHS tapes. For young guys, those are cassettes you used to put in your TV. But yeah, no, I used to just love it, like that art of that. And then I was in high jump as a kid, thanks to Eve again, and I finished, I think, fourth in the province one year, and then I didn't have the right shoes, so I couldn't jump, and it was wet. And I was always a 1 foot jumper. And then I was like, and then I just used to always sit in the backyard with the mini hoop. Mom had us and at 7 feet or whatever, and trying all the Jordan dunks. And then started growing, got my growth spurt. And then I was just like, let me try this. And then playing at Dolphin and playing with like my brother and his friends. And they would never want me to play because I would always be doing crazy stuff, CNS, Ebs. And yeah, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey, I have some kind of weird ability that I could jump and switch hands. And then there was, Dolphin definitely was, and like Bobby Singh and all the guys there were like, man, go in this. Sean Harley and, Mike Hamilton tried to beat me a couple times. Love you, Mike. But yeah, and then I just was like, okay, let me try this. And then guys just like, oh, here, jump a motorbike. I'm like, what? I'm like, sure, why not?
But dude, your wingspan and your hands, man.
Well,
like
that's the other thing. Yeah.
Did you ever measure it?
No, I never really have.
You know what photo kills me, dog? You know what photo kills me? It's your grade 12 year. It's like the all-star photo, and you're like in the middle, and then there's two guys on either side of you, and your hand is around the outside guy's shoulders. I'm like, is
that the BC's one?
Yeah, I'm like, there's no Photoshop back in the day. Look at this guy's arms, man. No wonder he could dunk with his armpit.
Someone else mentioned that to me years ago. I never thought of that. My hands were always the biggest, but I could just cup it. Like
you're just like draped over these guys. I'm like dying. It's the funniest photo. I gotta find it. I'll send it to you.
I forgot about that.
So
someone else mentioned that years ago too. They're like, yo, what? Like how? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, like your arms are long. I'm like, well, and it helped that I was only about $175, so when I jumped, it was like a feather.
Sure.
But then that's all I used to do though in the summers. I just practice dunks on 7-8 foot hoops, and then once Dolphin was a little easier for me because it was like 10 or about 9-8. But yeah, and then it was just like watching like Hartley and guys like him, like watching him do it, and my brother Jake doing it, and I was like, okay, wait, I can do this. And then it was just like, I'll just think of random things and just ask kids. I'm like, what do you think I should do? Like, oh, bounce between your legs from the free throw line, do the Kenny Smith, do this and that. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, let me try it. Then it would work. And I was like, I'm going to dunk everything with my left hand, but I'm right-handed. So that's why I think I got a lot of the things, everything I did was my left. I don't think I could windmill with my right, to tell you the truth. But it was funny because guys would be like, you switch it over to the left. And I was like, yeah. And then I remember Harpoon, like, jump this guy's car. I'm like, what? We wouldn't even jump a car. I'm like, no. I'm like, I've already had 4 beers.
Yeah.
Well, 6. And then he said, so they pulled in the parking lot on the grass, not the parking lot. And so I started jumping beside it. And I was like, I could do it. And then I was like, okay, Harvey, you stand on the one back. And my brother, you stand on the other side because I clip it and fall over. You guys can catch me because that post is right there. And then the beer garden's right there.
Yeah.
Where the monkeys were all sitting.
Yes, sir.
So that once I started doing that at Dolphin, then I was like, okay, I think I'm the dunk guy. But that's honestly a little thing that kind of hurt me in playing, I think, was all I wanted to do was dunk. Because I was like, I'm the dunk guy. And then I remember, I almost said Sports Illustrated, I wish, but Sports Page with, what was his name?
Not Don Taylor. It was
Don Taylor.
Was it? Yeah.
They came to McNair one time. My senior, we're gonna do a thing on you, and I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, no, you got to be here." And I was like, "Okay." 10 a.m. I was there at probably 10:30, and they did the whole little interview thing, dunking. I was like, so. But then that kind of got to my head. I'm just a dunk guy,
right?
And then other people around be like, "All you can do is dunk." Couldn't shoot. I had an all right shot. My form was gross, like Reggie Miller, but it was just kind of like, all you do is dunk. All you do is dunk. I'm like, well, and then just to be cocky, I'm like, well, still averaging 27 off a dunk. You're not doing much to stop it. But that really kind of got in my head that I was just a dunk guy. And then I wasn't ever focused on, make a jump shot or, do the fundamental stuff. I was like, if I catch it, well, I'm going to dunk it. Just throw it off the backboard, throw it in the air, I'll get it. And that kind of slowed me down in a sense. I remember a couple coaches, Triano, a few other guys, and like, you got to all around your game. Like, he's like, you got to work on the mid range or something else. He's like, guys are going to get to know you. And then, like, playing, like, I mean, your caliber guys, Terry Fox, and you guys are winning, and you guys just shut me down. And I was like, what? I can't just drive through these guys and dunk? It's like, no. I'm like, Bobby Singh definitely wouldn't let me do that or anybody like that. And so it's kind of like I had that stuck in my head for years that I'm just a dunker. And I mean, it
For sure.
did well for me overall after, which we'll probably talk about with the Harlem guys. But it was, I learned, Brandon really was guys like you, Gil, like, you're sweet, do this, and pull up, kind of thing like that. Oh, wow, that's part of the game. I can just catch and shoot. or try and beat a guy, dribble 7 times and try and dunk. I'm like, no.
What can we say about the people at Parkside, especially our guy, Sam Payne? A huge supporter of basketball in our community. The gentleman does many things behind the scenes that people don't know about. And one of those is supporting our podcast from literally day one. Sam reached out to us and said, hey, I like what you're doing. How do we get involved? And what you can do is find them at any local government store or come down to the brewery, sit on the patio, sit in the back, listen to the music, come for music trivia night, whatever it is. The wide variety of beer that they offer is second to none. And Port Moody and the Brewers Row is a great place to be. We are so appreciative of Parkside Brewery, we can't even say it in enough words. Head down. We hope to see you Parkside. And if you can't, find a way to support because they do a lot for us. Cheers. But yeah, you're right. It did parlay into a pretty dope opportunity for you, and talk about that. Like, let people know who the Harlem Crowns are and kind of what your role is there, and kind of traveling around, and pretty unique basketball experience, right? Like going through Canada and the world and sort of just having a fun time with, the love of the game at its kind of purest form, right? Playing all this pretty intense basketball, and then having the opportunity to just sort of like be a showman and have it be pure must have been a really cool time.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. Like that's, like you said, like Brandon was the fit for me at high school to get into a small place and, got to kind of showcase my skills and become a better basketball player with a lot of guys around me, obviously. And then it was like, well, my dad played for Harlem Crowns. He played for the Globetrotters for a little bit too. And I remember I came back from Brandon, I think it was 2002, I think. And I had just ran into a bunch of guys from EA Sports for the EA, for the first dunk competition in the video game and all this stuff. And they were like, hey, man, we might get you to do this. And I was like, yeah, okay. If people tell me they're going to send me overseas and do all these dunk competitions in Seattle, I was like, yeah. So I went on the road, ran into a coach at the YMCA, and where was it? In Kitsilano. We were playing. It was a co-ed league, actually. And I was hanging around after whatever, and throwing the ball off the walls and doing dunks. And this old black dude walks in, and he's like, hey, man, where are you from? And I'm like, here. I'm like, Canada, born and raised. And he's like, man, are you working right now? I'm like, no, it's summer. I just came back from school. And he's like, do you have like a month off? You can travel. My name is Herb Scape, blah, blah, Harlem Crowns. He's like, I used to play for the Globetrotters. And I was like, okay. So I called my mom and I said, Mom, do you know this guy, Herb Scape? And she literally screamed. She said, what? I was like, yeah, he just came up to me at the YMCA and asked if I could go travel. She's like, do you know who that is? I was like, no. I'm like some 67-year-old black dude walking around. And she just said, he played with your dad. And I was like, what? And then so they called each other. And the next day, my mom was like, okay, you're going to play out. And I think my first game was at West Van High School. And then he jumped in. He's like, I just want you to dunk. And I was like, what? I was like, $95 a day. I was like, okay. I was like, let me try this out. And then when I did that for the first year, I think I did a month and a half tour with them, and then went back to Brandon for kind of my last year. And then I was just like, these guys, like, we'll give you kind of not a lifetime deal, but in the sense that, they're like, come travel with us and you get to just, be a showman, like you just said, and hoop. And that was me. It was like, I can just run around and dunk and tell you guys do this. And the one big thing with that was the kids, I loved it. They'd come up to us. We would do a lot of the First Nation reserves, and they'd never see us. Like half the guys on my team, I was like, wow. And they're all from all parts of the States, all different characters for sure. And it was cool for me to be going through Canada mostly and being like, yo, we're in Williams Lake, we're in like Haida Gwaii and all these crazy places that no one's seen.
You got to
Like
go
a
to
lot
Haida
of people,
Gwaii?
yeah.
How was that,
And
man? I want to go.
oh
That's bucket
man,
list for me, dude.
it's awesome there. We should
Yeah.
go. I got
Yeah.
my brother's kid. My brother has a kid that lives there.
No way.
Jake's got a kid there. Yeah, I lived up there for a couple of years after that, and it is beautiful. Like it's different, but
Of
it's
course.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful up there. So yeah, with that traveling with those,
I want to go up.
guys,
I want to go up for the all native.
Oh man,
The
you
tournament.
would love it. I played in it once with Gene. Went up there. He took me up.
Nice.
Because I got my 116th status. So I had just enough to get in there. So they flew me up there for 1 year. I played for Fort Simpson.
That's
it's
dope.
A small little island, and yeah, oh man, all native and something else.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I had to jump in.
Tournament.
Yeah, man. We had Jacob Tom on, right? And he talked about it a little bit. So
yeah,
I'm like, man, this is like, I want to take like a week off in November and
we
go up
should
there
go.
and film.
Let's
yeah, it'd be
go.
so fun, right?
I will come. And the hoopers, like,
legit.
People think there's a lot of good hoopers. Like, obviously, I give a shout out to Gene. He's probably the most dominant player in that. But there's a lot of good guys that even up there as well, because they got the Alaskan team they let play in there every year, and just the local teams, the Haida teams, and man, there's some good basketball players. Even the girl hoops too, and it's a different hoop. It's not
for sure.
It's like playing at Kits in the '80s. You're not getting calls, and if you complain, they're just gonna look at you. But no, 100%. That's a fun tournament.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I just had to hop in when I heard Haida Gwaii. I was like, yo, man, I need to get up there. So
no, let's go.
Yeah, I'm in. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Where else? Where else did you get to go, man? Where else did you get to link up? And
so with them, with the Crowns, pretty much everywhere in the States. Probably almost every probably I would say 90% of every reservation in Canada we went to.
Wow.
And then in the States, probably almost everywhere, but Texas would have been cool to go play down there. And let my dad see what I can do.
Must have been tiring though, man.
Yeah, that was the one thing too. It was, and it was strict. Like everybody thinks, oh, you just do it. Oh, it's just no. Coach was strict. He was honest, like, you know. And it was mostly young guys. After my first few years, like I did 13 years with them.
Did you really?
So yeah.
Oh my God, man.
Like I would say it probably broke down to about 9 years, but it was always from October. They'd pick me up, and then I'd go till Christmas.
Yeah.
Come back for Christmas, and then go back on the road again.
Y'all ain't hopping on a first class, and you're not getting 2 days off in between games, though.
Not a chance. No, we were in either a van. We had the first year with a bus, so it was kind of cool, and then it was a van. And it was 9 of us in the van, and it was tough. And like driving up to all through Alberta and all that stuff in the winter, and coaches, I know these roads like nothing. I'm like, yo, we're sliding, and there's cliffs on each side, and there was this like guys in the back. All you see is white eyes and cell phones. These guys like, yo, where are we? I'm like, and everybody on the team thought I was from there. I'm like, no, I'm not from Saskatchewan. I'm not from Regina. I'm like, it's minus 30 somewhere here. They're like, well, you from Canada? I'm like, yeah. Remember the first place you met me in Vancouver with the big stadium? We went out. I was like, that's where I'm from. This is different. But that was a fun thing. I'm trying to do one more tour with them because Herb, he passed away a couple years ago. And he is the owner and stuff. So, and me and his son Herb are really close.
Oh, cool.
But we're trying to do one more memorial tour. But I said, I can only, now with the kids and stuff, I said, if we play in Vic or in Vancouver, I'm in. Maybe Alberta.
Yeah.
Just to get away for a month and do it. But we're trying to get on that. But that was a lot of fun. I got to play with Gary Payton's son.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. And then he ended up playing. I got him hooked up with Andrew Parker, which you know from Alberta.
Yeah, yes, sir.
He got to play on the pro team out there. I can't remember what they're called. Not Rattler.
Stingers?
Stingers, that's right. Yeah. So they signed him, and he went out there and played a bit. He wasn't obviously like his dad, but he was an all right player. But it was cool to have him on the roster, so they pumped that up a bit. But it was cool with him, and I played with Damian Lillard, little cousin. Basically, his brother raised him. This young kid, he was good.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to him. So a lot of these guys lost contact with. Like a lot of it was weird. A lot of them from Oakland and stuff. And, Beast Mode's nephew played with him.
Oh, no way.
And I was like, what? Yeah. So it was kind of cool that all these guys kind of whatever related, semi-related. And then it was just like, I'm just a lone Canadian guy on the team traveling around.
That's
but
dope.
then I was one of the better guys on the team. So it was kind of funny. And they all love me because I know a spot. Where are we? So I'll find us somewhere to go.
Joshy connected. Love it. Okay, man, let's do some questions. You ready?
Uh-oh. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's ready. He said, he's ready. Okay, man.
I'm waiting for these.
I
wrote notes and I threw them out.
Why? By accident?
Because I just freestyle them. No, I said I was writing notes because I saw when you sent me the thing. I'm like, hey, these. I'm like, man, there's so many. But I'm with my brothers, so I don't need that.
There you go. You got it. Respect. Okay. Let's get to it. Greatest bag of chips out there, man. What you got?
See, this is the last one. One of the Old Dutch Mexican chili.
Oh, yeah. I know this.
They just got in my neighborhood, and I asked the guy that I know he owns the store, and I asked him to get those in, so he's getting those in for me now. And then it would have been a Thunder Crunch jalapeno, but now they're Miss Vicky's. Pretty much.
The classic Thunder Crunch, man.
Remember the barbecue and the, man, that was Point
Nobody's
Roberts
pulled
special.
out. Nobody's pulled out Thunder Crunch.
No?
Yes. No.
No way. Yes.
No.
Yes. That was the
Those are Miss Vicky's before Miss Vicky's. You are 100% correct, my man.
That's what I said. That Thunder Crunch. Me and my mom used to go to Point Roberts and get those in a box of hockey cards or basketball cards. And
I love it.
The barbecue and the Thunder Crunch. Oh my God.
Oh, I
those
love
are the best.
This man said Thunder Crunch too, like so over seasoned, like so much much flavor. Like
the jalapeno ones and the barbecue ones. That was it. My mom would always have the barbecue ones. So I'd get the jalapeno. And you'd be like,
I knew you would. I knew you wouldn't. I knew you wouldn't let me down, my dog. Right? Yeah, man. Just like can't touch anything because you're just like, yeah. Eli had a bag of cheesies the other day and decided to like do handsprings on the couch. I'm like, dude, what happened here? It's like a murder scene here, man. Like, I licked them. Like
riding around the house.
Man, it's like handprints. Come on, man. All right. You got you. We're at Dolphin. You 4 dudes. Could be like your all-time favorites. Could be guys that you just want to run with this because you love playing with them. Whatever. We're on the blacktop though. No, it's your world. Could be anything. Could be local.
Not NBA players. I'll go with BC guys there.
Okay, and Ebe's coaching obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So we're on the blacktop. But it's call your own. Like it's a different kind of vibe, right? What do we got?
I gotta take Novell.
Yeah, you do.
I gotta take Mavis.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, Putzi, I used to watch grow up, and he went to school with my brother.
Let's go.
So it's gotta be Putzi. So
it's a tough squad right now.
Right? Me, no. I'm throwing you in there.
Putzi, come on now. Don't do it.
I'm throwing you in there. Hey, you're a champion, and you're smart. You know the game.
Keep your ass in line.
So exactly? We need that guy, and we need that the comedy too, because you keep everybody in check.
Give me one more. Who are you bringing off the bench?
Ooh, man.
So you got me, Putzi, Mavis, Nove. Who are you bringing off the bench?
Oh man, I think I might have to come off the bench and maybe throw in. Oh man, like see, I don't want to go past our time because I would say Tate, guys like that, but I had to put Putzi in there because I've known him since I was a little kid.
Sure,
and he's obviously a legend. Louis Johnson.
Oh my man, sweet Lou.
I'm sorry, Pooney, but you're sick. You can setting the screens.
He can do the announcing. That's what he's good at now.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I was thinking of that when I saw the things too, because there's so many guys.
It's true.
Like,
that's a team though. Lewis Johnson was a bucket.
Yeah. See, and when I watched him, he played against my brother and watching him play, I was like,
forget about it.
He was like Grant Hill in the sense, like
forget about it.
An undersized Grant Hill. But there's so many.
That's a good comp. Look at you, Thunder Crunch, undersized Grant Hill. This man is spitting knowledge.
I was thinking about that question because I'm like, I read, I'm like, that's, I'm like, damn. But there's so many, but it's like guys I played with.
You're always going to leave someone out. No disrespect.
Yeah.
You know, you're always going to leave someone out. Yeah. All right. We've talked about how much you don't like school. So I'm assuming if we're going books or movies, we're going movies, right, my dog?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I like some books. Just take me a minute.
Me too.
But movies,
the worst reader ever.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. I mean, I love it, but then I get squirrel brain. Like,
me too. Yeah.
And now I just blame it on the kids. I got no time.
Okay, what do we got? We going like all-time classics? Movies? Yeah. What do you got?
Ball movies or just any movie?
It's your world, man.
I know. Man.
Yeah, you're acting like you're not working listening to these episodes, man. Come on.
I know. I had to say the one which means a lot to me. And it brings back my pops, Steve's, is he took me to Hoop Stream.
Yeah.
He took me to that. I think it was in like grade 11 maybe or something like that.
Something like that.
He dragged me in there and made me watch that in the theater with him. And that's when I was like, this guy cares. And it kind of, that whole movie kind of hit home for me in a sense too. That's like going back to in the beginning of our talk. That actually opened my eyes a lot. And I know Eve did that for a reason. And yeah, I mean, I'll say the two basketball movies, that Above the Rim, just the soundtrack and the movie. And that kind of sums up a little way I grew up.
Love it.
But then outside of that, Shawshank Redemption is my go-to. I love it.
This is why, man.
Anytime it's on TV, I watch it.
This is why, man. This is why you're my dog. Let's go.
Right? That's probably my top 2 favorite movie all time.
Shawshank is so good.
Yeah. And then even though how long it is, I don't care. I'll watch it. And it's not like I'm not watching it. I'll watch that.
What's his name? Arthur Agee and the other dude. They have a podcast.
Games. Was it Games?
Yeah.
Games? Yeah.
You know who helps produce it? Remember Matt Hoffer?
Yes.
The like Grizzlies, like he was like a ball boy with the Grizzlies. Yeah. Him and I, we were texting like 2 years ago because I was looking into his podcast and I like sent him a DM and I was like, yo, it'd be fun to get you guys on. Like, this is dope. And then it was like, he's like, Mitch, this is Matt Hoffer. And I was like, what? Yeah, man. He's in the city. Yes, dude.
Wow.
I'll send you some stuff about him. I'll send you some stuff about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
We threatened to go for coffee or whatever, but it's like COVID and everything. So I should that's going to remind me. I'm going to reach out again, man. It'd be good to go for a coffee.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Weird stuff with this pod. It's like weird stuff happens like this. Yeah.
You're killing it, brother.
I appreciate it, man.
You're killing it. I even got guys I work with that don't watch sports, and I told them I was on my bros podcast. So I was like, here, just download, check it out.
Nice.
And then he messaged me earlier today after work. Oh, it's not basic. I don't know who these guys are. I'm like, Google it, see.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait for my episode. It'll be good. But
I'll let you get off work early. Okay, man. Now you've touched on a lot of people. You know, you got your mom, you got your brother, you got Ebe. Anybody else, some of the most important people in your life, or do you want to retouch on a few of those things? I mean, I know you lost your mom to cancer years back, and she was a huge part of your life. I mean, I remember her following us on the road whenever she could, you know, sleeping on the couch in the room in Victoria or whatever it was, you know, like just always wanted to see you hoop and be your number one fan. But anybody else out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Like, honestly, I even say, like, with our brand days, you were a blessing that you came out there. I mean, you kind of took me on your wing as well. Gil did. You guys are always just there for me in that sense. Like, it was just like, dude. And it was kind of cool to see you out there. Like, I mean, we played against each other, we played this, and then we didn't see each other for years. And then all of a sudden, link up in this small town. And it was just kind of like, I got family here now, kind of thing. Like, I had, like, yeah, the other guys on the team and stuff like that. Like, and then like Jake, he did what, but he's the older brother, so I was kind of hard on him because I was just like, I'm better than you and I'm younger. Leave me alone, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, and I mean, there's the ease. I mean, I could even go back like Triano, Hansen, like guys like that. They always saw something in me as well, like we were talking about earlier. And they tried to get me Langara with you guys, which sucked that I didn't end up staying there because I would have had a ring. But but I mean, just guys like that, just hoopers like Novell was always big, and even now we go back to Dolphin like Pira and all the guys there, like they always had my back, like whatever it was. Like they've been calling me now. I don't think I've been out there 5 years now since my daughter's been born. It's almost 6 years.
Yeah.
And now they're like, you're coming this year if we have to send an Uber plane over there to get you kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, like him, Tony, like all those guys, like DJ, everybody. And it's just like, they've always been around me and always had my mom's back, brother's back. And they always have a place. Just little things like that, that guys just around the hoop community always just kind of, never looked down on me, or even when I went the wrong way at times or whatnot. Or wasn't, the student athlete that I was supposed to be that everybody wanted me to be in a sense. But I mean, I wasn't ready. Like we were saying earlier, everything happened for a reason. I mean,
you got it.
Do I look back and think, damn, I wish I could have done some things different? For sure. But
don't we all?
I mean, for where I am now, I'm happy. I got a family and things are good. I did a lot of good things in hoops and definitely got a lot of good friends and brothers and this whole basketball journey. And I wouldn't change a lot of that for nothing.
I think what you're even doing now is more important than anything you could do with a orange hoop basketball and and a hoop. You know what I mean? And so you know what it means to me to see you be a dad and do your thing. Yeah. So yeah, man.
Yeah, no, that's like you. I was gonna say too. Like you invited me on Thanksgiving like 2 years back and went to the beach with the kids. I'm like, that to me was like, okay, I'm winning. In a sense, you know what I mean? Like that felt to me that I'm winning with someone like you. You're a successful guy, family. Everybody loves you. Like we have the same, basically the same friends overall everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cool to see guys like even like with the Keelers and Dom, like we were talking about. And seeing them, they always, man, you're always, stop being such an ass on the court. Or after the court, we're going to have a beer. You're awesome. That's why I ended up getting on the Monkeys. They're like, you're a monkey. Like, you need to be with us. It's like, we're all different, but, we get you. Like, you're not that guy that everybody, portrays you as and whatever, my past friends and things like that. So it was kind of like, just to see guys like that, went to UBC, went to, like, the big schools, and, doing good things and family guys. And it's just like, for me to kind of be brought into, like, your guys' whole big circle, means definitely a lot to me.
I think, it's easy to sit on the outside and like maybe when I was younger, I was a little bit bad about it, just sort of like judging people. But then you realize like everybody's got their own story to tell, man. And if you don't know what that story is, then you have no right to judge on anyone, And I think if you just open your heart to people and treat people like people, you'll find out more and create relationships than you would never imagine. You know what I mean? So
100%.
good stuff, man.
That's a lot of things. Like a lot of people sit there and judge and it's like, get to know me. You trust me. You like me. Let's go for beer. Like, you might not like me on the basketball court. I don't like myself in the basketball. I just want to win. And I might say some wild stuff to you, but I'll never disrespect, yourself or anything above that. I'm just going to, call you out and let's hoop. And then after, let's hug and go hang out.
Yeah, it's true. Good stuff. Okay, man, dead or alive, you got the best seat in the house. What concert you going to?
See, so it's Pac first.
Yeah?
I would have loved to see Pac in concert.
Okay.
And he would obviously have little entourage too, so there's a bunch of them. But I've seen a lot. So
yeah.
See, my mom, I got to see Michael Jackson in '84, the Victory Tour. I got to see the Temptations. I got to see Marvin Gaye.
Pause.
Bro, yes. Yeah, my mom had the plug back in the day.
Hang on. Stop. You can't just roll through and say, the Temptations and the Temptations. Okay.
Yeah. If I can find this picture, this is crazy, Mitch. There's a picture of me, Bill Cosby holding me with the Temptations I was like maybe 2 years old. It was it must have been Pacific Coliseum or something back, I guess. Oh, but I'm 76, so it must have been like 77, 78. And the funniest thing about the pictures, I know I have it somewhere with my aunt. After my mom passed, she's got all the photos. And me being a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, I just drew inappropriate things all over the picture. And it's funny you just brought that up because I've been trying to find that picture because I'm like, do you know what that is? Like it was a Temptation, all in their white, their everything. Yep. And then that next, about 2 weeks later, we saw, oh my goodness, Kool and the Gang. One of the greatest concerts ever. Well, Michael Jackson was first. Wow. But I was always like, Michael Jackson. And I'm like, wait, I went to his concert. So that's crazy. When I was talking, I was like, but Tupac definitely. I love Pac. Yeah. Just his whole method. He was another guy like, a gangster, blah, blah, but his lyrics, he was a smart man.
Yeah, man.
There were levels. Biggie and all those guys, but I was like, Pac he hit different. He grew up not just gangster, that everybody showed him out to be after. He was like a dancer. He was you know what I mean? Like he wasn't that guy until he got surrounded by those people. But and then who else did I say? See, I want to say Elvis because that would be a show. But then for living as well, I would like to see Metallica.
Let's go.
Live Metallica would be pretty cool.
I feel like they were just here.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But like, I want to see them in the early 90s.
Yeah. Not like 50 darts a day Metallica. Right. Yeah. Right. Got you.
Just to see them live up front would be pretty damn cool. Because that was always our high school song. It was always one of those songs in there.
Yeah, it was.
And a guy like that. And then okay, sorry, I got to have Bob Marley clearly. Just to sit out on the beach and sit back. Yeah,
What a list. What a list. A beverage, yeah. That's good, man. I don't know if we've had a Temptations call. Well done.
That's what I grew up to.
That's dope.
I knew mom was going out when those songs came on. There'd be a cigarette in the bathroom, smoke coming out, the hair dryer was going. I'm like, oh, mom's going out tonight. Well, Jake's babysitting me. If Marvin Gaye or Temptation came on, I said, oh, okay, we can stay up late.
That's awesome. Okay, two more questions, my guy. Big one. How are we feeling about ketchup on macaroni?
See, I know I hear every episode. I think I've only missed like 3 episodes, but when I was young, it was mandatory. Now, not a chance. Not a chance. Maybe some sriracha, but no ketchup anymore. But as a kid, that was definitely. Even my kids won't eat. I tried. They're like, no.
Won't do it. No.
Just butter and mix it.
That's nice. I like that, man.
Yeah, but definitely not ketchup anymore. That's like when I grew up with nothing. It's just like eating spaghetti with ketchup. You get no meat sauce, no tomato soup here. Pour that on there. You're good. You have lots of energy at school tomorrow.
Love it. Okay, my guy, last question, but most important is who would you like to see on a hoops journey, but you got to connect us? Is there someone out there? Who's someone? I mean, you've listened to a ton of the episodes.
There's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, who were you talking to last was Mike, right? Oh, no. The Mike Hamilton one. He said Jamal would fire, but I'm just keeping it Canadian. I mean, there's a few, me and you talk. I would love to hear a Weaselhead story.
Man.
Right? That would be.
Track that guy down?
Oh, I just talked to him like 4 days ago. I told him I was doing this.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, he's out in Kenai still. He's doing well. He's coaching the team. Yeah, I was out there with the Harlem Crowns. No idea that it was his reserve. We go in, I'm warming up. All of a sudden, this guy goes, Masters. I turned around, Weez was standing there. I was like, wow. My. Yeah, and I talked to him, like 4 days ago. He's doing good. He's coaching and running his community. He's
Love it.
Sober and he's definitely doing good. But there's a few guys, and I had to go through the list today to see who you had all on because I was like, obviously, these guys and all those.
Yeah.
I was at, Nash, obviously. I'm sure he's coming soon. But I mean, like, local guys like us, would be good. But
I agree.
I always thought Hemmings too, but I think that would be kind of. But that would be kind of a good podcast, though.
It'd be interesting,
right? Like the different perspectives and stuff.
Yeah.
And God, I had one person I was going to say too. Now let me think. Man, there's so many.
Your old ass should have kept the paper, dog.
Right? I even thought even the Chris Portis would be a good one.
Yes, he would be.
He's a character. He's a champ. And,
he's not afraid to. He's not afraid to share his story too, man. He's been through a lot too. He's at a different path.
Yeah. Like it's fun.
It's funny actually. Blake literally just messaged me the other day because Porteous was wearing his Hoops Journey hoodie.
Right. Oh yeah, I saw that.
And he was like, "You should get him on," and we were actually talking about it. Yeah. So
I think Portis would be a good one, especially what he's doing now, and he's working with Blake and stuff and doing all that stuff.
Him and I have chatted a little bit. We've been threatening to get a coffee because Eli's he's really ADHD, and I know Porteous is pretty open about his and sort of like just want to share stories and perspectives and hear what his life was like, right? So there'd be lots
Porteous,
there.
like I watched him grow up since he was at Cap, and when him and Cooney and youth guys were all playing for Eves. And wow, what a great shooter! The guy can play too.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's a monkey. So
yes, sir. Look at that. You're just nailing the reasons. Here's all the reasons, Mitch. 1, 2, 3,
he's
4,
he's
5.
just a solid guy. I've always liked him. Like he's a good guy.
I agree.
And like you said, he's got a good story too. I know his story, and it'd be a fun one. And he's coaching, and he's giving back, and that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, love it. Okay, man. Well, he's got one more.
Easy. I got a question for you. You think I'm just gonna shut it down? And shout out to what's it, Park Brewery?
Parkside?
Parks, yeah, there it is. When I'm out there next, we're coming.
Yes, sir.
So remember high school? I did this is funny because Eve told me about this, and this was 94, I guess.
Okay.
So when I did the sports page interview, what was it? I don't know. Well, obviously not you. Coach was like, well, why is he being featured on a thing before the BCs or whatever? And we got one of the best players in the country. That is you. And you had to do the belly roll or something live on.
Yes, sir. I did
well, I remember you did a dolphin, but
I did the belly roll on sports page.
I don't think I ever asked you that. And there was like, I remember he was like, we weren't rivals really. You guys were just better than us, and we were up and coming kind of thing. And we had obviously two great players. We had the dunker and the player. And I remember so now they're doing this, and then I remember that's when we were playing you guys, I think. And then you guys, I was like, I got this, coach. And no, we didn't.
Yes,
but I don't think I ever asked you.
Yeah, and very, very thankful that video is long gone, my friend.
Right.
The belly roll did happen on sports page.
Yeah, I think it was just after I did that, and they were like, "Oh, no," because Eves was like, "No, they're coaching. Oh, they're mad because they're profiling." I'm like, in my head, I was like, "Well, yeah, why not? I'm dunking." I'm in the paper dunking. I'm like, we're number 6 in the country or whatever in BC. So I'm like, but Terry Fox is 1. And they came beat us by 40 something. But I was like, I never got to see the belly roll except for at Dolphin. So that was one of my things I had to ask you. I've never asked you that in 30 years. We know each other.
It's well retired. And I'll leave you with a funny story. We just did we had a big coaching clinic on a couple Fridays ago. And I sent out like a form after, just said, for feedback or whatever, right? It's kind of like, what school did you come from? Any suggestions for next year? I don't know who it was because it was anonymous because I didn't, and then someone said, I want Mitch to do the belly roll. And I was like, oh my God.
Well, might have to.
Like 100 coaches in BC. I don't know who it was, but it's like, no, it's no,
God.
my shirt is not going off for the belly roll, dog. No chance.
That's awesome.
For those that are wondering what's the belly roll, just ask someone else. I'm not telling you, man.
Right?
You can figure it out.
I'll send a clip.
Oh my God. All right, my dude. Listen, I know we've been going back and forth, waiting for your chance to get on, and it was, like you said, timing's always right. And
hey, there's a lot of guys that you put on before me that deserve to be on there.
It's all good.
I guess my buddy's like, "Why are you on there? That's your boy." I'm like, "There's a process to this."
Yeah. It comes and goes, right? And I know there's other people out there too, and we'll get around to them too, man. I wish we had the resources to do a weekly episode. Right now it's bi-weekly, right. So if we could get more out there. That said, if anybody wants to throw some sponsorship money our way, we'd be happy to get you a weekly episode. I appreciate you, man, and it's fun to still have a relationship with you. We'll be out there mid-December and for our tournament in Oak Bay.
Yeah, I'll be there.
It's going to be dope. You got it. And any last thoughts, reflections before we let you go, my guy?
No, man. I just appreciate everything you're doing. Obviously, the podcast, everybody. That's the whole. The podcast is great. Oh, it is great. It's something that we need, and especially that I got a brother that's doing it, and all the people that you have on that I get to listen to and kind of reminisce and hear stories of them, and kind of know most of the stories as well. So it's been a blast, and it's like you said, it's been a blast having you as a brother to me, and like you said, inviting me to Thanksgiving, things like that. And we're hanging out every day when we were growing up or whatnot, but it's just like full circle comes back, and it's just like good people know good people, man.
I love it. What a way to end, man. I couldn't agree more. I think you said so many great things. I hope this episode brings some light to who you are and your journey and your path. And like you said, ignore the snarl on the court and the mean mugging, because he's one of the best guys off of it that you'll ever come across. And I've come across a lot of guys in my time, and you're at the top of that list. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, my brother.
Episode 121. Thanks for rolling with us. Thanks to our sponsors, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Love you, buddy.